Welcome to WalterFootball.com fantasy football mock draft. We're doing 12 teams standard this week. I'm with FantasyJabber this time. Kenny, how are you?
Bro, I'm living the dream, and I've only done one mock draft, so I'm ready to start.
And you had the number one pick. Any reason why you chose the number one pick?
I just try to do mock drafts from every position every year, and so to the best. And so I haven't. This is my first one I'm doing, so I figured I'd do it from the first spot. First one I'm doing with live people. I've done like automated ones, but
okay. So. You have a few seconds to just say real quickly. If you're watching YouTube, please hit subscribe, click the notification bell, and like this video. That would help a lot. And you are on the clock.
So, I mean, to me, this is an easy choice. I know you're not going to be surprised. It's Saquon Barkley. He's the best player in fantasy. He's the best running back in the game. He's probably maybe the best running back of my lifetime. That's not hyperbole. The guy's awesome.
Yeah, I have him number one as well, and McCaffrey. Some people are going to have McCaffrey too, and I assume Elliott and then Kamara are going to go. I chose the number 5 pick because I think it's the toughest selection to choose from in this year so far. I mean, that'll change if there's an injury or something, but I assume the top 4 players will be off the board, and I think I'm going to have to make a decision that's not too great. So I'm hoping to fade the number 5 pick this year, especially in our league. And I know, having said that, I'm going to end up having the number 5 pick.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Hopefully our commissioner is not watching. That'd be great. Looks like, yeah. Oh, wow. Number 4 went Derrick Henry. So that, I actually already crossed off Alvin Kamara, so I have to re-add him. That was surprising to say the least. I mean, Henry had a huge year and he led the league in rushing, but I would much rather have Alvin Kamara. So this is an easy pick. I thought I was going to have a tough choice here, but apparently not.
No. I think I mean, I get it. I get why people want Derrick Henry, but he's just not as good as the other guys, which means the chances of him faltering is higher. That's the bottom line. It's that simple.
So if you were in my shoes, and I'll give my answer after you, who would you have chosen at 5 if Kamara was off the board?
Right. So I'm looking at so if, we've gone so far, McCaffrey, Elliott, Henry, Kamara. I think, I think I would give a strong, to me, I seriously love Josh Jacobs and Joe Mixon and some of those guys. I think those guys could be in the mix, but maybe you can make a case for Michael Thomas or Tyreek Hill. I mean, I know it sounds high for some people, but in PPR leagues, I think going for a Michael Thomas is not a crazy idea. In a standard league, going for a Tyreek Hill is not crazy to me. So I think it depends on your competition. What if you're in a league where you don't know how the guys draft, it's hard to guesstimate that, but you and I tend to be in leagues where we've been in those leagues for years and years. So we kind of know the tendencies, and I know what might be available, coming back to me. So that would also influence my position.
Yeah, I think I would have gone with Josh Jacobs. He's the next guy on my board, but I had Jacobs and Nick Chubb very closely together. I like Jacobs a lot this year. The offensive line is very good. The offense as a whole should be better with Henry Ruggs commanding attention. And Jacobs having more experience and the Raiders coaching staff saying that they want Jacobs to catch more passes this year. I think he's going to have a huge year. It wouldn't surprise me if he leads the league in rushing. I actually bet him to win the rushing title this year. I think it was like 18-1 or something like that. It's on the site. But I think he's going to have a big second year.
Nice. Yeah, I think between those two guys, Chubb and Jacobs, I like Chubb a little more. I like his talent better, but that's not a negative against Jacobs by any means.
Oh yeah, if Kareem Hunt weren't there, it would definitely be Chubb for sure. But Kareem Hunt just took away some touches late in the year. It's kind of like a hindrance. It's annoying. I owned Chubb in one league last year, and it was you definitely saw the drop off. He still produced very well, and he's still worth the first round pick, but he's not going to have the same level of production with Hunt there.
Right.
The pick I like the least. Actually hate this pick in the first round is Dalvin Cook. I'm not big on Dalvin Cook to begin with. I love his talent, but he's always injured. He's never lasted a full season, and now he's holding out. So I would not draft Dalvin Cook in the first round.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not. I wouldn't be. I think the holdout is almost just like even before the holdout, I was not taking him in the first round. So the holdout makes it. Although who who knows what happens with COVID? Like, we have no idea. So like maybe COVID pushes everything back, and these guys realize they want to play. I don't know. So it's hard to guess.
Yeah, there was a report out today. I think like Anthony Fauci was saying that it's going to be tough to play NFL football this year, and I was like, this guy's been wrong about everything. So I actually make me more optimistic. So Kenyon Drake is off the board. So I was leaning toward Melvin Gordon or Devin Singletary. I like both guys. In my rankings, I have Gordon a little bit higher than Singletary, but I think that's wrong. I think I'm going to adjust my rankings after this. I like Singletary more than Gordon, so I'm going to go with him.
I like Singletary more as well. I'm not even like, to me, it's not close. Like I mean, that's not a knock on Gordon. I just think Singletary is a better player.
Yeah, we have our first quarterback off the board with Mahomes, and I wonder how you feel about that.
I think it's a terrible pick.
Yeah, I agree. I love Mahomes, best quarterback in the NFL, but I don't think you could take a quarterback. So you're on the clock.
Yeah, I'm on the clock right here. So we've got all the running backs that, there's some running backs here that are question marks. To me, the guy that I really love would be, in this case, is Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the guy that I think I would want to lean towards in this spot, but it feels a little early. But I'm going to take my chance on the rookie running back. Even though I know some people think that might be a little, maybe too early.
And you're up again.
All right. Oh yeah, I forgot. I picked back to back. So here I don't have a receiver. So I got to go receiver. I don't have to go receiver, but I don't know that there's a great option here. So I think I like. I think Mike Evans, I think, is the best running back or the best receiver on the board. Maybe Kenny Galladay. I also like Cortland Sutton a lot, but I'm convinced I'm way higher on him than the rest of the market. So I'm gonna wait on him, and I'll go Mike Evans in this spot here.
Well, I'm going to tell you this: Sutton's not making it back to you in the fourth round. I love Sutton as well, so it's something to keep in mind when we draft together in August.
Good point. Like it's hard, it's kind of like. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things I was saying. Like, it's hard to know. You have to know the tendencies of your people to some extent. So I'm assuming I'm higher on the market than everyone else on Sutton, but I might not be.
I don't like Team 4's draft, by the way. You went quarterback, tight end. I think this is auto-picked, even though someone signed up. Maybe their computer crashed or something. So I've talked about how I like going running back this year because it seems as though running back is so thin this year. It's kind of crazy how thin the position is this year. So I like Todd Gurley's, in that offense. I think he's going to score a ton of touchdowns. I know that he's a big risk with his injuries, with his knees, but I think in the third round, he just has so much talent. He's too good to pass up here in the third round.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I feel like you've been so down on Gurley, but I guess in your mind, it's just the value is there in the third round.
Yeah, I mean, he used to be a first-round pick. Obviously, he used to be the number one overall fantasy player once upon a time. And even last year, I think his ADP was end of first round. And I thought that was way too early. But, mid third round, I think is fine as my third running back. So, he's going to be my flex. And as I was saying, I think running back is a good strategy this year because it's so thin. And I feel like I say this every year, but running back is just I've never seen it this thin before. Like, it's crazy. And I was like thinking in my head, like, how many teams have running backs? It's like one running back who handles the most of the workload. And I think I came up with like 13 or 14 teams. It's absurd.
Yeah, that many? I'm surprised it was that high.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can go through it at the end, but it's pretty low. It used to be like 25, back in the day.
Almost a whole league. If you asked me to guess the number, I would have guessed like 8 to 10.
Yeah, it'll be fun to go through it at the end. Yeah. So maybe we'll do that. So we have any picks stand out in this round? I think DeAndre Swift maybe a little bit too early. I like Swift's talent. I love his talent, but he doesn't really have the job secured yet. But I don't hate the pick. I just think it might be slightly too early.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell is a big wild card to me. So, middle of the third round, maybe that's value, maybe it's not. It feel a little uncomfortable taking him there. DeAndre Swift, I think is as a full round earlier than I would take him. James Conner, not bad value, but I don't love him. I just don't love him, so it's hard for me to. I wouldn't be picking him there. I love Kenny Galladay. Kenny Galladay to me is a baller. Has legit like top 3 fantasy wide receiver potential. So if Matthew Stafford's healthy and that offense, is even mediocre, doesn't have to be good, just mediocre. He's a threat for double-digit touchdowns. And even upper, he's a threat for 12 to 15 touchdowns if the offense is good and Stafford is healthy. So I think the upside for Galladay, on the back half of the third round is fantastic.
What I just noticed is that Chris Godwin went almost a full round earlier than Mike Evans. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's odd because Mike Evans is clearly a better player. So I get people. I think people just outsmart themselves too much for fantasy football. I think people just they look too much in the details and too much of the analytics and too much of the stats. Like, I know it's a game about stats and analytics. I get that. Like, at the end of the day, sometimes we outsmart ourselves. Like Michael Evans is the better player. Like, my money's on Tom Brady throwing to him. I think if you're asking me which of those guys has a chance to score the most touchdowns, I think it's Mike Evans.
So there looks like 4 teams that went running back. And I think that's a good strategy, as I said. But team 12, KK, he went receiver. And I think it ended up hurting him. He had to go David Montgomery at the end of the third round. That's someone I don't like at all. That's his number 1 running back. Like, it's going to be tough for him to win games with this sort of strategy. I just, there are some years where you can go receiver, but I don't think this is one of them.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Nothing else stands out to me as blatant other than, of course, there's 3 quarterbacks gone and there should be 0 gone at this point in the draft. The number should be 0. The number of tight ends that have gone, it's 2. That's fine, I guess. I mean, I don't love it. But it's not as egregious to me as the quarterbacks. In my mind, ideally, quarterbacks and tight ends shouldn't be drafted in the first 4 rounds unless the scoring system is just super unique.
Yeah, I think I would, if Mahomes were available to me at 408 here, I would take him.
You would? Wow.
Mahomes, yeah, definitely. I mean, he's far and away the best quarterback. So I would take him here. I would not take him in the 3rd round, but I think 4th round is fine for Mahomes. He's the only quarterback I would take in the 4th round. Looks like, wow, someone robbed Sutton of me. I was about to take Sutton and Metcalf.
Wow.
So that's pretty rough. So in my rankings, Deebo Samuel is the number 1 receiver. He reportedly broke his foot today. So I don't know how severe that is. So, if I were drafting this live, I would avoid it for a little bit. And I think I'd rather go with Juju Smith-Schuster. He had a 2nd round ADP last year. And I think he rebounds with Roethlisberger presumably coming back.
All right. Wow, that's so Cooper Kupp just went. That was the guy I had just teed up in my spot. So I thought Sutton, I love Sutton more than several of the receivers that have already been drafted. I have him much higher than most people we're drafting with right here. Seem to. I've got Kupp higher than most, I think. And I'm probably a little lower on AJ Brown than most people. So I'm going to make my pick right here. I think I'm going to, I don't think there's a tight end that I think is, staring me in the face. So I'm going to go receiver here just to be balanced, unless there's a running back that just really stands out to me. Talent wise, I like Mark Ingram, but I don't know that there's a real guy here that I just absolutely love. So I think I'm going to go receiver. I've got 20 seconds. Let's not have a mishap like I've had before.
I was telling Jacob when we drafted that you missed the pick, and he missed the pick too because he didn't realize he was up. And I was like, it's the tradition here, and then I missed the pick, so everyone misses the pick.
So I go T.Y. Hilton here. I got to be honest, I don't love this pick, but I got about 3 or 4. Receivers that I think are all bunched together. The reason I'm taking Hilton over some of the other guys in this, Calvin Ridley's in this mix. Even DJ Chark, who I love. But T.Y. Hilton is a little bit of a different cat. He's more of a balance. Like Mike Evans is a little more of a reliable week to week. T.Y. Hilton is more of the boom bust kind of guy. and I like to have my lineup to be a little more diverse. So I love DJ Chark. DJ Chark's probably my favorite player on the board right now. But for stock, what was that?
You took Deebo Samuel instead.
Oh, did I run out of time?
Yeah, right on cue.
Okay, well, I meant to take DJ Chark, but I'm an idiot. So everyone feel free to mock because I wasn't paying attention to the clock when I was talking. I was trying to talk through my pick and missed it.
Oh man, that's great. It just worked out that way. DJ Moore is my next receiver. Allen Robinson was someone I was going to target here. He was my next highest receiver, but then it's DJ Moore. I'm kind of hesitant to draft Carolina Panthers. Obviously, McCaffrey's an exception, but I think Moore is too. He's such a good receiver last year. Great route runner. He really improved a lot, and I think he's going to be even better this year. So those are the two guys on the Panthers I'm willing to take.
Nice.
All right. So you said you would have taken DJ Chark instead, right? At 501.
Yes.
Well, if Samuel ends up being okay, and he can play week 1, I think that's a fine pick. In fact, I would have taken him in the 4th round. But we don't know yet.
But I wasn't paying attention, so.
I was wondering if you did that on purpose because I was talking about missing picks.
Yeah, I bet there's people watching think, "Oh, Kenny did it on purpose." No, I didn't. I'm a dope. I don't know. It's an accident. Total accident.
Very nice. How do you like your team so far?
Well, assuming I had DJ Chark there, I would love it.
Well, like I said, if Samuel works out, it's fine. Look at these running backs in the 5th round. Like Mark Ingram might lose his job. Jonathan Taylor may not get the starting job over Mac. Mostert, like who knows? Like maybe he's great, maybe he's bad. David Johnson is going to be injured at some point. Like,
yeah,
it's so tough.
Ronald Jones, Tevin Coleman is in that mix for me. But even J.K. Dobbins maybe could be in the mix. The rounds 5 to 7. But all of those guys are kind of like, like I'm not super stoked about any of those guys.
Yeah, and like conversely, look at the receivers in this round. So Samuel aside, like if he's healthy, is great. Allen Robinson, like solid number 2 receiver. Stephon Diggs, I think so also. DJ Moore, I talked about him. McLaurin, who's your guy from last year, he should be even better this year. DJ Chark, you liked him a lot. Tyler Lockett has great potential. Calvin Ridley also should be a solid receiver too. Like you can get good receivers here in the 5th round, but these running backs here in the 5th and 6th round, they're so volatile. Like they could easily all bust.
Yep.
So it just goes to show that taking running backs early, I think, is the good strategy this year.
I agree.
Yeah, and not taking a tight end and quarterback like we've seen. Kerryon Johnson off the board is another one. Like he could easily lose his job to Swift.
Yeah. And I love Kerryon Johnson as a talent. I like his style, I like his player, but they're just question marks, right? Injury history, offense issues. There's now a rookie in the spot, on the team. Like those are major question marks. But Kerryon Johnson, like if everything goes right for that guy, he could be a top 5 fantasy running back. Like is everything going to go right? Yeah, who knows? It's hard to say.
That's true. We don't know. There's a bunch of receivers available right here. 3 guys I like in the spot: Devontae Parker, Robert Woods, AJ Green. I think Parker has the most upside. He was a monster last year. Like he was unbelievable. How well he played. And I don't know what just happened. So that's great.
You're. I'm still going over here.
Yeah, can you share your screen?
You just selected Dak Prescott, by the way, by accident. Apparently,
yeah, I don't know where I am.
Technical difficulties. I don't know how to share my screen. There we go. There we go. Share. All right, so people can see my screen, maybe.
There we go.
All right. So you got Dak Prescott on your roster now. Sorry, bro.
Oh, very, very nice.
Well, who would you like to have taken there if we did?
I was gonna take Devontae Parker.
Okay.
Let's see if I can get in, but if I can't, then we'll just go through your screen and you can talk what's going on.
Yeah, to me, I don't need a receiver here. Although Dante Parker would be a great option. I agree with you, but I think I'm going to be nervous if my running back position if I don't. In this spot, if there's a tight end screaming at me, then I would take a tight end. But there's not a tight end screaming at me, so I'm going to go running back. I'm going to go Damian Williams, who I don't really love, to be honest. But no, I'm sorry, not Damian Williams. Ronald Jones. Did I just draft that player there? There we go. I'm going to go Ronald Jones. You know, I'm a big believer in the talent. Everything can go wrong in that situation for him. But, yeah, and I don't love that I have now 2 Tampa Bay players. You know, I've got Mike Evans and Ronald Jones. You know, I don't love that. But Ronald Jones legitimately has the talent to be a really good player in the league. And I think people don't realize that. And so I look at Ronald Jones as like a better James White. You know, and so I look at what James White did with Tom Brady, and I wonder, could Ronald Jones be, you know, a slightly stronger, you know, slightly shiftier version of James White? And so, I'm going to forget a player. Oh my gosh, I did it again. No,
There's so much fail here.
I'm an idiot.
I don't know why I can't. It won't let me back in. I don't understand why. So you took quarterback.
We apologize to everyone for our technical difficulties and our idiocies.
Well, I don't even know what happened to me. It just not locked me out. I don't understand.
I meant to. I didn't mean to. I was talking about the Ronald Jones pick, and then I was going to talk about how I was now going to draft my tight end here in the 7th round. Yeah.
All right. Well, we could talk about other picks. So Devontae Parker went at 702. That was the guy I was going to take, and AJ Green went right after my pick of Prescott. So that was someone else I was considering. AJ Green is coming off. You know, he missed all of last year, but now he's a good quarterback. So I think that I think he's going to rebound. And they gave me Brandon Cooks too. I would not draft.
Yeah, I'm definitely higher on Cooks than you are right now. I think we talked about that in a previous episode.
Yeah, I mean, he's one hit away from losing his career. Like, it's just done, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's been a disappointment recently. He was the 3rd receiver on the Rams last year. It just seems like he's on his way out. I just don't like it. I love this Alexander Madison pick, by the way. If Dalvin Cook holds out, Madison is going to be borderline running back 1.
I don't know if he's running back 1. I don't know if he's that talented, but I also haven't seen him play enough to feel like I've got a strong opinion either way.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the opportunity is here. Like, he's a talented running back. They have like a decent offensive line, and when he's been on the field last year, like he ran very well. And I just think it should translate to success. Like, the offense is still going to be good. He'll still get a bunch of touchdowns, and he's going to get all the carries. So I don't think he's like a concrete running back 1, but I think he's on the border. Like, if Dalvin Cook were like, if he just said, I'm not playing this year no matter what, and he was just out, like, Madison will probably be a 2nd round pick.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's probably akin to the James Conner, Le'Veon Bell situation a couple years ago. And maybe, you know, maybe Madison's actually a better player than James Conner. Like, maybe he's a better talent. So if James Conner could do what he did, maybe you're right. Maybe your Madison's the same guy. I just think, you know, I guess I'm arguing with myself now. That Pittsburgh Steelers offensive situation was much better than I think what the Vikings are in terms of the talent and the coaching scheming. I think James Conner was in a better situation than what Madison would find himself in. But you could be right.
Yeah, I'm also not high on Connor's talent either, and I know you aren't either, right? So, and it's whatever. So we have a bunch of quarterbacks in this round. Looks like Evan Ingram at the top of the 8th round. Sony Michel, who's injured again. He's someone I don't know if I touched. Maybe like late in the draft if he really fell. 7th round, I don't know. Like, do you see any running backs except for we talked about Madison? Like, do you see any running backs you like here? Maybe Cam Akers.
J.K. Dobbins would be the guy I like. He's the guy I'm going to be targeting. Yeah, I really like him. I really like Mecole Hardman. Those are guys that I'm targeting in drafts. We talked about this on the podcast, you know, a couple weeks back. Those are the types of guys that I'm targeting. I really like the idea of drafting Hunter Henry sometime this year in drafts this year. I think maybe this is a chance for him to bounce. Finally be that guy we know he can be talent wise. I like that a lot. I think so. Those are some guys. The other running backs maybe that I would consider in this spot. I think Jordan Howard might get some consideration for me if I'm on a team. If I've drafted a team that I think's got some questionable running backs, Jordan Howard's not going to be great, but I think he's going to be fine. He's the kind of guy, if you run into trouble in the middle of the season, you might be able to plug him in a couple times. So I think that's the kind of guy I'd be looking at. Philip Lindsay here, I think, is a value pick in the 8th round. I like Melvin Gordon more, but I think the gap between Philip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon is not 6 rounds. Melvin Gordon here in the bottom of the 2nd, Philip Lindsay at the top of the 8th. Like that's almost a 6-round gap. I don't think the gap between those guys should be that much.
I agree. What about the quarterbacks in this 7th? Well, we haven't had one in the 8th round, but in the 7th round, we had 4 quarterbacks. Do you like any of those picks? Well, no. I mean, you made the Deshaun Watson pick, but sort of.
No, I don't like any. I don't like any of these picks. No, I don't. I just don't. To me, Pat Mahomes, I'm thinking about him in a standard league. In a standard league, I'm thinking about him in the 5th. In a PPR, I'm not thinking about him until like the 7th. I know that sounds crazy to some people. I'm just looking at the number, the analytics, the percentage chance of me winning with that kind of pick. It's just not very good. So I don't like that. So to me, I would take all these guys, and Lamar Jackson's not even my next quarterback. So to me, if Russell Wilson is still there, if Pat Mahomes, Russell Wilson is still there, but I'm supposed to see who they picked for me. They picked Tevin Coleman for me. That's exciting.
Oh, you're an auto draft. Oh yeah, because you missed 2 picks.
Yeah, but it is picking from my watch list. Okay. So right. It'll auto draft, but it'll pick from my watch list, so I can populate the watch list.
Yeah, at least you're getting players you want. I can't get back into the room. I don't understand why you can't get into the room once you exit. I don't know why it exited in the first place.
Yeah, it's strange.
I don't know what happened.
So J.K. Dobbins went, right before that. That's a guy I really like a lot. Latavius Murray, like, is he going to be in the league? Like, is he going to be on that team? I got to make the team. I think
he's going to be on the team, but he may not get too many carries.
So here I want to take some upside guys. I think the upside guys I like. Naheem Hines, he's a freaking track star. I like that guy. I'll put him in my mix. And so we'll see if that amounts to anything. Maybe not. He's got 2 running backs ahead of him.
Actually, they gave me a guy in the 9th round that I actually like, Matt Breida. I mean, he's granted he's always injured, but in the 9th round, like his talent level, I think is definitely worth the picking there, and he could be the starting running back in Miami.
Right. So I'm gonna go ahead and populate my spot here with guys I like and see if they give me any sort of any guys I like. The tight end I think I'm going to try to target late a lot this year is Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert, like the guy had 50 catches, a couple hundred yards, like bunch of red zone catches. Like the guy's going to get he could be a tight end 1 as the number 2 tight end on the Philadelphia Eagles. Like that's a realistic possibility. I should move up. Sorry here. It's possible that Goddard ends up being the number 10 to number 13 tight end in fantasy with not even being the number 1 tight end option. But if Zach Ertz were to get hurt, Goddard is a top 3, top 4 tight end easily. And I'm actually at a point where I'm convinced I think Goddard might be slightly better than Ertz. I mean, I've seen enough to believe that. I know that's heresy in some parts of Philadelphia fandom, but and I love Zach Ertz. That's not a negative. I love Zach Ertz. He's obviously he's a great player. Scored the go-ahead touchdown in the Super Bowl. Come on, like I love him. So, but I'm at a point where I think Goddard is a better overall talent.
I know one guy who absolutely hates Zach Ertz. He lives here in Philly, and he's actually one of my best friends is getting married. And his dad hates Ertz, and he actually said last year he's like the Eagles should trade Zach Ertz for Jimmy Graham. So much he hates Zach Ertz. I think both are great, and I think Dallas Goedert late in the draft is like perfect. Tyler Higbee went early this draft. I think that's like, I don't like drafting tight ends early, but if you're going to draft a tight end in that range, I like Higbee a lot. So I don't mind the pick. But I've seen Higbee fall to like the 11th round of drafts. And I think that's crazy. Like considering what he did last year when Everett was hurt and then now Cooks is no longer there. Like I think he's going to have another big year.
Yeah. I like Higbee. I'm just not taking a tight end that early. It's just hard for me to maybe I should write a blog post for the site. Maybe I should write an article explaining like the analytics, why that's so bad for you. Maybe people don't understand the analytics of it.
Hey, if you're right, I'll post it. So definitely do that. So Carson Wentz went. I wanted to get your opinion on Wentz, considering the Brandon Brooks injury.
The Brandon Brooks injury is killer. I think people don't realize how big it is. I know you rated it like an 8 out of 10 on the site. It's a disaster rating. It's hard to understate. It's a big deal. He's arguably the best guard in football. Yeah, I mean, how much does it impact Wentz? It's hard. I think it's hard to say. I know it's going to impact him. I just don't know. It's hard to say how much. To me, I use those kind of things as tiebreakers. If I have Wentz and someone else tied, if I have Miles Sanders and someone else tied, then I use it as a tiebreaker. But I think the rest of the line is still good enough where I'm not going to like dramatically lower Sanders and Wentz, at least not yet. If we get into if there's preseason games and we see that Andre Dillard on the left side is really struggling, then maybe you really begin to rethink that.
Yeah, I moved Wentz down 1 spot. I think I moved Sanders down 2 spots in my rankings. So I agree. It's not crazy, but it does hurt a little bit. And the stat that Wentz has never won a game, a single football game in the NFL, where he didn't have Brandon Brooks for more than 50% of his snaps, like that's insane.
Yeah, he's 0-6, right? Is that something like that?
Yeah, 0-6. Yeah. It's crazy how good Brandon Brooks is, and it's really going to be like painful. Can you imagine like if Lane Johnson goes down, like, and they also don't have Brandon Brooks?
Hush your mouth. Stop that. Stop it.
Well, I just watched the Eagles Seahawks game recently, and they didn't have Lane Johnson for that game, and it was just the Eagles couldn't do anything. They had 3 points until garbage time, so it's kind of like fresh in my mind.
I had I've watched through the first 9 weeks of the 2017 season. So I'm still calculating my should have been interceptions. Let me see who they give me. They give me Naheem Himes. I'm glad that's my boy. And Dallas Goedert.
Very nice.
These are actually 2 guys I might actually draft in this spot. Well, Himes I probably wouldn't draft in the 10th round. I probably would wait till like round 12 or 13 for Himes. But Goedert I would actually draft in this spot for sure. We already talked about him. I think Jared Cook next. I think in general, people underrate offensive lines and how much of a difference they make on fantasy teams. I will say this: as much as I love Carson Wentz, as much as I'll defend him, he is toward the top of the list in should have been interceptions thus far through 9 weeks of the season. That is not. Wow. I did not realize it. It's one of the things about rewatching when you're rewatching games versus having watched them. We watched a lot of the games during the season. You watched them all, but it is interesting when you're rewatching things that you realize that you missed during the season when it was going on live.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's great. It's great to do. And like, if you have time to do it, and you're serious about fantasy and, if you're watching this video, you probably are. That's definitely something you should do. Like you can learn something and, really give yourself an edge, heading into the season, or you can just read the site because I watch all the games and I post all my thoughts on there. So you could do that too, if you want a shortcut, but no, the more work you put into it, obviously the better results you're going to have. And, if you're playing in higher stakes leagues, then that's something you should definitely do if you have the time. I'm
always annoyed at the number of fantasy analysts that don't actually watch most of the games. They just read the box scores. Like most fantasy analysts don't watch games. And that I don't understand. Like the box score doesn't make sense unless I have the context.
Right.
Yeah. If I see 7 yards, 70 catches and a touchdown, like, okay, but the context of that is so helpful for me to know, is it legitimate? Is it legitimately likely that player is going to repeat those stats? Or is the context such that it makes me feel unlikely that player's going to repeat those stats. Like I think that's what watching the games helps you do.
Yeah, you can always tell like when an analyst watches the games or doesn't. Like just based on what they say, and after the watching myself, like you can really tell. I know you're probably like referencing in your mind the yards per carry stat that that you absolutely hate.
Yeah, it's like my I don't know if there's a stat I hate more. The quarterback rating I'm started to hate quite a bit too.
Yeah,
but just because it's so convoluted. But yeah, I'm starting to hate that stat too. There's so many stats people, balls defended for defensive backs. I hate because like there's so many variables. Like that player may have defended the ball well, but he might not have done the right assignment on the play. Or sacks given up. Like sometimes it's obvious that an offensive lineman gave up a sack, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes the offensive lineman all he's supposed to do is do a quick chip and then let the guy go and then go to the second level. But then sometimes I've seen offensive linemen get credited with a giving up of sack when like dude, that was a part of the design of the play. What are you talking about? So it's like statisticians, like they don't know what's in the mind of the coaches all the time. Sometimes it's obvious, but sometimes they don't. And so I think, or sometimes quarterback fumbles, like if the quarterback's handing the ball off to a running back, and like if the running back makes a mistake, well, the fumble usually gets charged to the quarterback because he's the one that had possession of the ball last. Like, so like, okay, a lot of those fumbles, like Carson Wentz has a bunch of fumbles on his roster. Like, you look at him, you're like, well, a bunch of them were during exchanges of running back. I'm like, well, I don't know if that's his fault actually. So stats like that make me, but you don't know that until you watch the games.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. So yeah, and also like the fumble snaps, like that's definitely factors in too. So let's get back to some of these picks. If we're talking about quarterbacks, like we don't like taking them early. One quarterback who really stands out to me here is Baker Mayfield. Remember last year there was so much hype with him. He's going in like the 6th round of drafts or something like that. Now he was taken in the 11th round. He still has Odell Beckham, who should be healthy this year. Jarvis Landry, of course. They added Austin Hooper. They added 2 offensive linemen. So I think he's going to rebound. You're on the clock here, so.
Yep, I was just trying to add a player I might like. I don't know. Let's see if it's not what I meant to do.
So you took 2 tight ends there.
It's not what I meant to do. I meant to take Carlos Hyde there. It's 13th round. I don't know that I would actually take Carlos Hyde in that spot. You were talking about quarterbacks. This is the area where I would be starting to legitimately think about, like, if Wentz is legitimately in play at the 9th round, I'm definitely taking Carson Wentz in the 9th round for sure. But I'm in mostly leagues where there's a lot of Philadelphia fans, so Carson Wentz has never lasted to round 9.
No way.
The other quarterbacks I like in this range, like if you're telling me Drew Brees is going to be a 10th round pick in most drafts, like, okay, I like that. I'll take Drew Brees in round 10. If Baker Mayfield's going to be an 11th round pick, I'll take Baker Mayfield in round 11. Like okay. Daniel Jones in the 9th round. Like that's really if this is how the ADP is going to shake out, taking Daniel Jones in round 9 or Drew Brees in round 10, I have no problem with either one of those picks. I think those are value picks. Pretty much any of the other quarterback picks before that, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson in rounds 8 or 9, I'd feel comfortable with. They're never going to last that long though. So, I think I like that. Tom Brady in round 10. We've talked about him. He's borderline QB1. So I guess that's fine. I think I'd rather take the guy with some upside. I think to me, Daniel Jones has more upside. Daniel Jones has more downside too, but I think I like the guy with the upside.
I'm shocked by how many people don't think the Buccaneers are going to be great this year. I'm absolutely like floored by it. I think that they're one of the top teams to win the Super Bowl this year. And, I posted that I have them going 14-2 in my season previews. And like people are like, there's no way that's going to happen. And I was like, Tom Brady always wins 12 plus games. And like, he's never had the sort of supporting cast since the Randy Moss, Wes Walker days. Just a great supporting cast. And the defense played a lot better last year when they had Jason Pierre-Paul back from injury. So Yeah, I think when Brady first signed with the Buccaneers, I'm like, oh man, Brady's going to be like a 4th or 5th round fantasy pick. Like, there's going to be so much hype. There's been no hype with the Buccaneers, which is shocking to me. I think they're like I said, one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl. Another quarterback I like who just went in the 13th round is Jared Goff. I don't like Goff in a vacuum, but the first 2 weeks of the season he plays the Cowboys and the Eagles. And if you're going on matchups, I think those are 2 great matchups. Like, Dallas's defense is not good. That could be like a 41-38 game. Jared Goff could throw for like 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then the Eagles, they added Darius Slay, but they lost Malcolm Jenkins. So they still have issues in the secondary. So I think you can start Goff for the first 2 weeks and then dump him and then add someone else.
Yeah, the Cowboys, I think it makes sense. I don't know what kind of match the Eagles are going to be. I'm very, very interested. The defensive line is going to be better, and their corners are going to be better, but their safeties are not going to be. Their safeties are going to be worse. So it's hard to, and their linebackers might be worse. So I'm not sure how to judge that matchup yet. The Cowboys are definitely worse at every level on defense. So I agree with you there for sure.
Yeah, the Eagles linebackers are like pretty bad.
It's as you would say, an abomination.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. So yeah, I can understand what you're saying because Darius Slay is an upgrade, but I think losing Malcolm Jenkins is just enormous. So you're almost up. So you want to give any final thoughts and your final picks?
No, I'm going to put all my guys up. I mean, here I'm just taking shots right on guys. So to me, it's Tyrell Williams and Anthony Miller. I just put guys in there. Those are Tyrell Williams, Anthony Miller, Deshaun Jackson, like just those boom or bust kind of guys. Like, they're the kind of guys you draft late. If they hit, great. If they don't, whatever. Realistically, maybe I like Denzel Mims. Maybe he's he's a random breakout guy as a rookie. Maybe Jalen Reagor is as a potential breakout guy as a rookie. You just take some speedy rookie receiver and just maybe you get lucky.
What do you think about Deshaun Jackson, who just went in this last round? I think he played 1 game last year and he had an awesome performance, and then he just missed the rest of the year. But if he can play 11 games or so, I think he's going to pay off his price in the 15th round.
I mean, if you told me for sure Deshaun Jackson is definitely going to play 11 games, I would draft him in the 8th round. Like, that would be like, okay, yeah, great. But I don't know that he's going to play 11 games. If you told me you're definitely going to play 12 games, and I say he's a 7th round pick, and I wouldn't go higher than that at all. But if you told me for sure, hey, Deshaun Jackson is definitely playing that much. Yeah,
that's for sure. But 15th round, I think is a steal. So we can't really talk about my team because I don't know what happened. Again, it just crapped out on me. So do you want to discuss your team?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could to some extent because some of these players I would have picked. I think Deshaun. I wouldn't have taken Deshaun Watson. I would have taken DJ Chark. I likely would have taken a Tevin Coleman there anyway, or that caliber running back probably. Maybe Matt Breida would have been considered my other. It would be between Coleman and Breida. Would have been my considerations there. I love Hardman in the 9th round. I mean, I think Mecole Hardman has a chance to really be good this year. I love him as a player. Naheem Hines I probably wouldn't take here. But I think overall, I actually like the makeup of this team. Running back heavy in the front, balance between running back receivers in the first half. And then I've got some guys that are really upside, Ronald Jones upside, but could crap out. Hardman, Hines, all guys that could be great or could crap out. So I think that's kind of my guy. I think ultimately the quarterback I probably would have ended up with is actually maybe Wentz in the 8th round or Breeze in the 9th. That probably would have been, I would have gone. Maybe Tom Brady in the 9th. Like, the fact that Breeze and Brady landed in the 10th to me is very surprising, being that those guys have the cachet. And then maybe, or if those guys are gone in a draft, then I go Daniel Jones. That's kind of my ordering, I think. And I love Goddard in the 11th or 12th round. I think it's fantastic.
Do you want to scroll up a little bit? I can talk about my first few picks. So, I went triple running backs to start, which I think, as I said before, is a good strategy. And then I like the 2 receivers I got in the 4th and 5th round. I would have taken Devontae Parker in the 6th round. In the 7th, maybe Kareem Hunt. If Nick Chubb goes down, Hunt is suddenly a running back one, like easily. So I think he's a good value. Also, Alexander Madison. So like I would have considered one of those two guys in the 7th round, and then in the 8th round, I don't know. I would have probably gone with another receiver, maybe Michael Gallup. I don't. Maybe Christian Kirk, something like that. I'd have to look at my rankings, but yeah. So I'd probably end up with 4 running backs and 4 receivers after the first 8 rounds, and then I would still go running back, receiver. I don't think I'd take a quarterback before round 11. It really depends on like who would be there, but I don't really see the value with the quarterbacks at all. So I think I would have stuck with my strategy and just got like Jared Goff in the 12th or 13th round, and then tight end I would have just either drafted no one or drafted I don't know. Maybe Austin Hooper or something. So, like I don't think you need to draft a tight end at all. Like, you just play matchups. And I feel like same thing with quarterback.
I do feel like I'm a little better at playing the quarterback matchups than the tight end matchups. I feel like the tight end matchups they can be a little more random just because touchdowns are so random. So I'm less inclined this, after my, let me backtrack for a second. I'm the guy that drafted a tight end in the 15th round of our league 2 years ago, right? I mean, the 16th. Like I'm normally doing that, but I have found myself if I'm gonna punt one or the other, I'm more likely to punt quarterback. I think this year because I feel more confident in my ability to play the matchups with the quarterbacks. If the Ben Roethlisbergers of the world, if those kind of guys are on the market, if the Ryan Tannehills and the Phillip Rivers and the Sam Darnolds, if those guys are going to be on the waiver wires in a lot of leagues, then I'm going to feel more comfortable punting my quarterback position. The tight end position feels a little murkier to me once I get past like 14. So I'm feeling a little less comfortable with tight end. But if I miss out on Dallas Goedert in round 12, and if I miss out on, like Higbee, Henry, or Austin Hooper, like, I want to draft one of those guys in rounds like 9, 10, or 10, 11, 12. If I miss out on those guys, then I'm likely not to draft a tight end at all and just play matchups.
Yeah, speaking of tight ends, so in my rankings, my projected point totals for the year, between the number 7 tight end and the number 21 tight end is 17 points for the whole year, which is slightly more than 1 point per week. So it just like goes to show that, you can play matchups. Like you said, it is easier to play quarterback matchups because you have a better idea what's going on. But you do get some teams that you notice throughout the year that can't defend tight ends at all. Like Arizona last year was just a train wreck against tight ends. Every single tight end played against them was great. Tampa was another team that couldn't defend tight ends. There's just a few teams that you can go against them, and then I think that works out pretty well for the most part. But you're right about quarterbacks. On the flip side, I think it's a lot tougher to play matchups with running backs and receivers. Like, first of all, running back, there just aren't that many running backs who can, who are going to carry the ball a lot. And then receivers, they're so dependent on the quarterbacks and the coverages they see. So, yeah. So,
agreed.
Right, okay. Before we sign off, do you want to play the game of the sole running back carrier?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start in the NFC East. Eagles, do they qualify?
The Eagles, it's a good question.
Yeah, right.
I would say the Eagles qualify, yes. I think Miles Sanders is going to be the primary ball carrier.
Okay, so we have Barkley and Elliott. They're no-brainers, so we have 3. Redskins, no. All right, so NFC North, the Bears with Montgomery. What do you think about him?
I think he will. That's a good question. That's a good one. Yeah, I think he's going to end up being the primary ball carrier, and there's not going to be a lot of competition. It's not going to be a split backfield.
Okay, so for what about the Packers with Aaron Jones versus Jamal Williams?
No, I don't. I think Williams is going to get more touches than people think.
Okay, Lions, obviously not. No. Vikings, we don't know about Dalvin Cook, so.
I mean, I think if Cook is playing, yes, I think that's the team that they want to do that.
But yeah, but we don't know if he's going to be playing, right?
Right.
So we can't say that. NFC South, Kamara and McCaffrey, obviously. Gurley, I think,
But
is
even Kamara gets taken off the field in a lot of obvious running downs, right? I mean, they gave Murray a lot of carries and a lot of looks in the red zone last year. When Mark Ingram was there, him and Kamara split, and a lot of people thought, okay, Kamara's going to get all the bulk of the carries now. That didn't really happen. So I'm not 100% sure about that one either.
okay.
It should be, but because Latavius Murray looks like when he's running like he's wearing cement shoes.
Right. So, for the sake of argument, he's a first round pick, so let's just count it. So I would count Gurley as well with the Falcons. They don't really have a good backup. And the Buccaneers, no. We don't know who's going to start even. So NFC West, Niners, no. Seahawks, no, right?
Right.
Rams, no. We don't know who's going to start. And Cardinals, I think we could say Kenyon Drake, right?
I think it's Kenyon Drake.
Okay. AFC East, we have the Bills with Singletary, so that's number 9. The Dolphins, no. Jets, Le'Veon Bell, yes. And what about the Patriots? Do we know if Sony Michel is going to be the full-time starter?
I don't think. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if he's out of the league by November. I mean, I don't know, guys.
Okay, so we're up to 10 with 3 divisions left. Ravens, I would say no because they drafted Dobbins.
Right.
Steelers, no, we don't know who's going to start later in the year. Bengals to Joe Mixon, I think it's number 11.
Yep.
But then you have Browns with Chubb and Hunt, so no, right?
It's unfortunate, isn't it?
Yeah, really. All right, AFC South, Texans. They paid a high price for David Johnson, so I think you have to say him.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right,
that one's a close one too. I'm not convinced that Bill O'Brien knows what he's doing.
That's true.
I'm convinced he doesn't know what he's doing. So
that's true. All right, so Jaguars with Fournette, I would say yes.
Yeah.
Although he's probably gonna be traded. 12. Derrick Henry, yes, right?
Derrick Henry, definite. Yep.
And Indianapolis, no. So we're up to 13. One division left. Chiefs, no, because they have Damian Williams and Edwards-Helaire. Broncos. What about the Broncos? Gordon and Lindsey.
Yeah, that one's not a definite for me. I think that's going to be. That's why I was saying earlier. I think the sixth round gap in fantasy drafts doesn't make sense to me.
I agree. Josh Jacobs, yes.
Yeah.
14, and the Chargers with Eckler, Justin Jackson. Like no. Eckler can't handle the full workload, right?
What was that?
Eckler can't handle the full workload.
No, I don't think so.
All right, so that's 14 teams
with like 3. Right, there's 14 of them, but that's like 3 with 3 of them being questionable.
Yep.
So like 11 solid and 14 total.
Yeah, and like I was saying before, when we were playing fantasy in the early 2000s or late 90s, it was like almost the entire league. Yep. 25, 26 teams had sole ball carriers, and that doesn't happen anymore. Not
even close.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be you get mad if there was a second ball carrier. Now you get mad if there's a third ball carrier.
Right, exactly. Yeah. For all we know, like the Browns could introduce this third running back this year who's really good, and then Chubb is just a big bust for fantasy.
Yeah.
All right. So anything else you want to discuss?
No, that's it. Just to let people know. I mean, you can follow me on Twitter at FantasyJabber, and I promise in the coming weeks I've got my should have been interceptions article coming. It probably won't be till late July, but got a full-time job. I'm a PhD student. I'm trying to not piss off my new wife by taking too much time doing additional things. So I gotta spread things out.
Sounds good. Although I am looking forward to the Jameis Winston number. I want the official tally on how many interceptions each have thrown. All right, you can follow us here on. You can follow me on Twitter at Walter Football. I'm at walterfootball.com. Tons of content, fantasy rankings, season previews. Please hit subscribe once again. That'll help us out a lot. And that's it. I guess I'll talk to you next week. And next week we'll also have another mock draft. Maybe you, Jacob, and I can do a three-man mock draft.
And maybe I can actually get my picks in on time.
Yeah, maybe I won't get kicked out of the room. So much fail, but I think it worked out. At least it was good to have a backup screen. If it was just me drafting, I don't know what I would have done. I guess start over. I don't know, but yeah, that's it. All right, I'll talk to you next week.
You the man, Walt.
Bye.